let's take a look at the two new themed Traveler's Notebook inserts. All right, I've never done Traveler's Notebook inserts that are themed before. Up until this point, they're lined, they're dot grid, they are blank. There are two new themed Traveler's Notebook inserts with this release. So let's start with this set. This set, Mary said, what size are the Traveler's Notebooks? On the website with both the Traveler's Notebooks and the inserts, you have the measurements. So Mary, on the Traveler's Notebook covers, these are a standard. They are, I believe, 8.75 inches tall by about 5.75. So they will fit both your standard and standard wide Traveler's Notebook inserts. Standard being 8.25 tall by 4.33 wide, and then also standard wide. And the standard wide are the inserts that I do that are 5 inches wide by 8.25 inches tall. All right. So first set is a document your travels set. All right. So this is a set of two. The reason why I am able to do Traveler's Notebook inserts that are themed, these are all manufactured in the US, so I can go lower quantities. We have a little bit more flexibility in what we do in terms of themed inserts. My costs are higher, definitely. That's just kind of the way that it works when you're manufacturing in the US. But where I can manufacture in the US, that I do that. The idea books, all of my idea books are manufactured in the US, and it is my same printer that is now doing the themed inserts. So themed inserts, this is a pack of two. They're both different. So let's take a look at this one first. This one is just a lined insert, all right? Now when I say just a lined insert, it also has my kind of signature outline around it. So you don't have to outline it because it's already outlined for you if you like to do your outlining. Anyhow, there are 28 pages here, lined insert. So this you can use paired with this guy. So this one is based on my document your travels kind of method of documenting your travels. When Nick and I, my husband and I, went on a trip back in 2023, it was originally supposed to celebrate our 20th wedding anniversary. No, what am I talking about? 25th wedding anniversary, but that happened in 2020, so that didn't happen. So we rebooked everything and took the trip in 2023. I documented that trip this way. Before I left, I pre-prepped a Traveler's Notebook insert. When I say pre-prepped, I drew all of this. I drew everything. I did my stamping. I did all of that before I left. And I can't tell you how many requests I had from people to say, Layle, we need an insert that does that for us in a very loose format. We don't want to have to take all the time and get out our rulers and things to do that, right? So that's what this guy is, the second insert in that Document Your Travels set. As we open that up, you have a fun little intro page. It's good to have an end to journey toward, but it is the journey that matters in the end. On the back side, there is also a nice little end page. Life's not meant to be lived in one place. And then as we move in, you have a page to capture the destination, your trip dates, any transportation, whether it's your flights or train tickets or your whatever your transportation information is, accommodations, so your hotel or hotels or VRBO or whatever you're doing. This is for a to-do list of things that you need to do before you leave. Could also be your packing list. Then we move into things to see and do. These are the things that you want to see and do on your trip. Then we move into the meat of that themed insert, and that is basically what I did here. Very, very loose for you. So you can decide how you want to fill this out. You have space for the date. You have a space here, a space here, a space here. Terry, yes, this is also part of that little craft vest class, both inserts. So if we look back to what I did, in that date space, I was using a little stamp to put the date, and I wrote the day number there of the trip. Here I was putting kind of the city, country, state, whatever, wherever you are. Here I was putting accommodation. This one, when I did it, I had a space for weather there, but we've actually built weather into the insert, so you could use that for whatever you'd like. As we move down to the bottom, you have distance. So distance can be a lot of different things. It can be miles flown, it could be miles driven, it could be miles biked, it could be miles walked or steps walked. You have a space for the temperature, and you have your 4 little icons for the weather that you can circle. And then you have top 3. So the way that I used this insert that I created before my trip was to, let's see, each day on the trip, because I took this with me. On that trip, all I took was an insert and a pen. On the trip, I purchased a very small little pack of colored pencils, and then anywhere where I could find a sticker, I'd find a sticker and smack it in. But the idea behind this type of insert is that on your trip, you are doing this. You are sitting down every night or every day for maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and you're doing a brain dump of everything that you did that day, right? So ideally, you have this all ready to go before you go, like I did here, right? And then on the trip, you just write the things down. Write the things down, and that is all you are worried about. That's all you're doing. You're not worried about, oh my gosh, how many pages do I need to leave for photos? And what if I need 10 photos for one day and only 1 photo for another day? Or what about the memorabilia? I don't know. That's usually what stops people from documenting, because they don't know what to leave room for. Here, you don't need to worry about it. You have a spread a day, you write down all the things, and then you do your top 3. Because that is then really giving you all the details, plus summarizing your day, so that when you get home and you are ready to add the photos and do all the documenting, you have this little thing at your fingertips. You have everything. Even if it's 5 years later, when you finally sit down to document that trip, you have it all here. All right, so that is all. This was literally, I did it every single day or night while we were on the trip. So I came back with this. Done, right? So really, done. And that's all I took on the trip, was that and a pen. So that is what this insert is for, to capture all the information while you're on the trip. This has 7 spreads. So we kind of went back and forth on, how long do you make this? We did some research. On average-ish, a trip, people kind of a 7-day, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. So that is for 7 days. If you needed to extend, you could buy another set, or you could kind of work, maybe into your blank one, or maybe this is 2 days worth or 3 days worth. Kind of, you can decide. When you get to the end of those kind of the meat of the that insert, you then have some roundup pages. So you can kind of 2 pages for trip roundup. You may decide, you know what? I'm going to add my photos here. I'm going to use some tip-in tape to do my memorabilia. Everything can be in this if you want, but you've got some roundup pages there. You have some favorites, so you can do a roundup of all your favorites in the trip. Again, words, could be words or photos. Extras, notes. So you have a couple of extras and notes pages to kind of continue to build that out. All right, so there you have it. Now that, when I came back from the trip, I had used, probably 30 different stamp sets to stamp, just to add a little bit of extra things, right? All from my stash. Didn't have any travel stamp sets at that point. So used some Carrie Bradford stamps to prep my insert back then. Used some from Everyday Explorers, lots of different things, all right? So when I came back and had so much interest in this that I had done, we quickly released a Document Your Travel stamp set. So this guy has been out for a while, but With this insert for your days, you can just write all your information, or if you wanted, you could pick up that document your travel stamp set, because that is where you have hotel, you have miles, steps, sailed, driven, biked, flown. It does not have kilometers, so apologies there. It does not have kilometers, but you can do the conversion if you need. And then you have lots of fun little icons that you could work in as you're decorating that, if you wanted to do that, all right? And that's also on sale today, but that's been around for a while. Okay, so that is the document your traveler's notebook insert. And this is the document your travels stamp set. So just make sure that, you know, if you want them together, you can get them together, but inserts, stamps. All right, then if you can go see, well, parts of this, I think I've done a flip through with this. Anyhow, this is then how, when I got home, how I then used all that information to then kind of put my trip together in that nice chunky traveler's notebook. There is also a document your travels e-course that has been out for a while as well, but it basically goes through my whole process of prepping before I went on a trip. A ton of different, I think there's 12 different videos, about 6 hours worth, 12 different videos of lots of things to think about, talk you through, taking photos, organizing your photos when you're on the trip and all that, and then kind of taking all the information when you get back and showing you a bunch of different examples of how I then documented the trip. So that is out there as well. All right, the second one. Oh, Terry, good point. There is also a travel mini icon stamp set. There is a travel icon stamp set now. There is a large travel icons die, metal die. There is a kind of a travel alphabet. There are probably 6 or 7 different travel stamp sets as well. Thanks for that. Thank you, Terry. And Terry said the e-course is great. Yeah, that's been super popular. That's been a super popular one as well. All right. The second, Emma, I love it. She said, gorgeous. I need to book a trip just to use this, right? Yes. All right. The second insert, the second new themed insert is a habit tracker. All right. So on both of these inserts, you notice that they're very plain, right? White, beautiful artwork. Beautiful artwork. You might just see a little bit more of that artwork. Oh, I don't know, maybe in May. Just kind of a little teaser that I'll throw out there, but super beautiful, simple artwork, so that if you wanted, you could use your Copic markers to color that in. You could slip cover, you know, I slip cover a lot of my inserts, or you could just leave it plain like that. So habit tracker. Habit tracker, if you are not familiar with the habit tracker, I encourage you to go take a look at this because I've done some explanation on what a habit tracker is, why it is beneficial. Amy just logged in, or she just, added the link to that habit tracker. So habit tracker, very similar in layout. Well, the intro page and also the summary page, right? That's very similar. Other than that, it's totally different than the inserts that we saw. So with the habit tracker, you have a spread for all 12 months of the year. Now, we are in March. I started habit tracking again very seriously this January. I've done it, I did it some in 2020 and some in 2021, and then fell off the wagon. For me, habit tracking is a super beneficial tool to help me focus on habits that I would like to be doing or doing better of. And then you've got your little grids. You have a little grid, one for each day that would correspond with whatever habit that you write over here. And you're marking off the things that you do. So let's say one of my habits is I want to drink 100 ounces of water a day. So I'd write 100 ounces of water. And then every day that I drink 100 ounces of water, I get to make a little X or a check mark or whatever. So you kind of get that little dopamine hit there. I'll show you kind of an example of how I've used this. Anyhow, so you have a spread for every month. You have your space over here to track up to 12 habits. And then you have 3 boxes here. So your 3 boxes can be for decorating. They can be for adding quotes. They can be for reflecting at the end of the month. Lots of different ways that you could use those 3 boxes. So each of those is specific to the number of days in the month. This is not dated for a particular year. So January has 29 because every 4 years you have a 29. If you were in a year like this year where there isn't a 29, you could put a piece of washi over that or color that in or whatever you wanted to do. But we kind of felt like we needed to do a 29. So there we go. You have that spread for all 12 months of the year. Then you have two kind of blank pages at the very end to do whatever you'd like to do. All right. So like I said, I've been using a habit tracker since the beginning of the year. In January, when I started sharing my habit tracker, I had a lot of requests. Layle, please don't make us do all of that. Please don't make us write all of that out. Let me just see. I think it might be right here. Nope, that's not it. Anyhow, I had basically done this every month. Okay, so basically got my ruler out, had to draw those little squares, had to add my little numbers. Enough people said, Layle, we'd really like a habit tracker. We really like to habit track, but we don't want to have to do all of that. So, all right, so this is how I have used it. Now, I did go back because that's the way I am. January and February, I had already done in my own that I, made. So I did go back and redo it now in this habit tracker. So you have kind of that area to design, put whatever you'd like there, or you could leave it plain. And here we go. And you can see all of these photos are on the website with the habit tracker, so you can kind of see my examples. But there you go. There is January. For my habit tracker this year, I will be using the season pass to decorate. So January, February, March, I have used the winter, spring season pass. But you'll see over here, I have just I wrote the things that I want to focus on. And then when you start to see things filled out, that is a very visual way to see what you're doing well at with your habits and maybe where you need a little bit of help, right? No, habits can be fun things too. They don't just have to be you drink all your water, work out, eat all your protein, whatever it is. Things like being creative, things like reading. All right, so I love to read, but I do not give myself enough time to read. So when you look at this, you see glaringly, Layle, you need to work on that habit a little bit more. If that's important to you, there's not very many X's there. So the way that I've been using the boxes, I find a quote that's related to habits and I write it there and do a little bit of decorating, do a little bit of stamping there. And then this for me is kind of reflection. So a little bit of reflecting at the end of a month. All right, so there we go. That is January. February, there you go. Same thing, right? You guys, I really find, and everybody's different, but for me, I can't tell you how motivating it is for me at the end of the day to go in here and start marking things off. And also, it's motivating for me to go, you know what? I didn't work out today. You know what? I really want to have an X there. I don't want to have very many blanks. So you know what? I'm going to go work out. It's kind of my own little incentive system, right? So there is February. And then here we are so far in March. All right. So I'm using season pass. You can use whatever you want in your stash to decorate, or you might be like, you know what? I don't even want to decorate. I really just want to be able to track my things. That's one of my notes that I want to add. One of my habits I want to track for April is getting plenty of protein in. And what's interesting too, sometimes you may have your habits fall off. So for example, hair care. I've been really working on my hair the last year to try to help it grow and be more healthy. I have consistently every day since June been doing a hair care routine. So you know what? I'm like, you know what? I don't need hair care on my habit tracker anymore, right? I need to bring in some new habits. So that's the habit tracker insert.